What if the headlines that shake our world are not merely chaos, but a celestial language? Could the great and tumultuous events we see on the grand stage of nations be whispers of a deeper, divine narrative unfolding before our very eyes? Why do some hearts tremble in fear at the news of war between nations like Israel and Iran, while others find a steadfast peace that surpasses all understanding? Stay with me, for the truth we are about to explore could forever anchor your soul in unshakable hope. Welcome, cherished friends, to Pure Mind. Think, your sanctuary for finding divine clarity in a world of noise. Today, we embark on a profound spiritual journey. This is a prophetic update, not to stir fear, but to awaken faith. We will journey from the ancient, windswept plains of the Holy Land, where prophecies were first etched in stone, to the quiet solitude of a prayer closet, where the fate of nations is decided. We will explore the signs of our times, the trials that test our resolve, and the glorious, unwavering promise that in the midst of every storm, the Creator is preparing His return to help and gather His people. If you are ready to shift your perspective from fear to faith, and to place your trust in the One who holds tomorrow, I invite you to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Our journey begins now. Imagine standing on a quiet overlook, gazing upon the serene, rolling hills of Galilee. The air is still, carrying with it the scent of olive groves and the echoes of ancient history. It was in these lands that words of profound prophecy were first spoken, words that have shaped the course of civilizations for millennia. Today, those same lands are once again at the center of the world's attention. We see the headlines: Israel has launched a war against the Islamic Republic of Iran. A tremendous amount of speculation has filled the airwaves, a sense of imminence, a feeling that the world is holding its collective breath. This is the nature of our times. We live in an age of instant information, where news of conflict and tension can reach us in a moment, no matter where we are. It is easy to feel overwhelmed, to be swept up in the tide of anxiety. We hear of talks between nations, of military posturing, of threats and retaliations. We hear of the race for nuclear proliferation, of new missiles being developed, of a world teetering on the edge of a wider conflict. This is the reality of the world we see with our physical eyes. But as people of faith, we are called to see with different eyes. We are invited to look beyond the headlines and perceive a deeper, spiritual reality at play. The ancient wisdom traditions, from the prophets of Israel to the sages of the East, have always taught that earthly events are often a reflection of heavenly dynamics. In the Christian scriptures, the Apostle Paul reminds us that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. This teaches us that behind the political and military conflicts, there is often a spiritual battle taking place. It is a battle for the hearts and souls of humanity, a battle between hope and fear, between faith and despair. When we see nations like Iran and Israel locked in a dangerous dance, we are seeing more than just politics. We are seeing the outworking of ancient spiritual conflicts. This is not to simplify the suffering or the complexities of the situation, but to elevate our perspective. From the tranquil temples of Kyoto, where Buddhist monks contemplate the nature of suffering and attachment, we are reminded that much of the world's conflict stems from the human heart's entanglement with power and fear. The desire to dominate, to control, to secure one's own safety at the expense of others. These are the seeds of war. Imagine a great and ancient forest, like the redwood forests of California. The majestic trees stand tall, a testament to centuries of quiet growth. But at the forest floor, a small, controlled fire might be set by a wise forester. To an outsider, it looks like destruction. But the forester knows that this fire is necessary to clear out the underbrush, to allow new life to grow, and to prevent a much larger, uncontrollable wildfire in the future. In the same way, the turmoil we sometimes see in society, while painful and chaotic, can be a sign that a deeper cleansing is taking place. It can reveal the unhealthy underbrush of society, the bitterness, the division, the injustices that have been allowed to grow for too long. Many spiritual traditions speak of this. The concept of creative destruction is found in Hindu philosophy, where the god Shiva destroys the universe in order to recreate it, paving the way for new life. In our own lives, we often must go through a period of falling apart before we can be put back together in a new and better way. This is true for individuals, and it is also true for nations. When we see protests and divisions, it is a sign that there are deep hurts and unresolved issues at play. Our role, as people of faith, is not to add to the noise and the anger. It is to be agents of peace and reconciliation. It is to listen with compassion, to speak with grace, and to pray for healing. It is to look beyond the surface level anger and see the deeper human longing for justice, for recognition, and for a better world. And we must always be wise, asking the Creator for discernment. What is the turmoil distracting us from? Is it drawing our attention away from a more significant, spiritual or global event? In the quiet moments of prayer and reflection, as we sit in a space as serene as the salt flats of Bolivia, where the earth meets the sky in a perfect mirror, we can ask for clarity. Creator, show us what is truly happening. Help us to see with your eyes. This prayer for wisdom is one that is always answered. It allows us to navigate these confusing times, not with anxiety, but with a quiet confidence, knowing that a divine hand is still at work, weaving a tapestry of purpose even out of the threads of chaos. Now, let us face the most sobering of these signs, the one that speaks of a threat that could alter our world in an instant. The source text I drew upon for this message spoke of a vision, a dream of a nuclear flash, a light so bright it could burn the skin. This is a fear that has haunted humanity since the dawn of the atomic age. We see nations working towards nuclear weapons, and we hear leaders speaking with grim resolve about preventing it. This is the great and terrible power that humanity now holds in its hands. How do we, as finite beings, comprehend such a threat? How do we find peace when the very atoms can be turned into instruments of annihilation? We find it by looking to a power that is infinitely greater than the atom. We find it by looking to the creator of the atoms themselves. Let us journey to the magnificent peaks of the Swiss Alps. Standing on a mountaintop, surrounded by the silent, majestic power of creation, one feels a sense of awe and smallness. These mountains have stood for millennia, silent, witnesses to the rise and fall of empires, to the wars and triumphs of humanity. They remind us that there is a power far greater than our own, a geological and cosmic force that we are a small part of. And faith teaches us that even this great power is subject to the will of its creator. The Bible is filled with stories of divine power over creation. The God who parted the Red Sea, who stopped the sun in the sky, who calmed the raging storm. These are not just ancient myths. They are testaments to a reality that is still true today. The Creator who holds the universe in his hands is not intimidated by the weapons that humanity creates. This is the source of our ultimate peace. The vision of the nuclear flash was accompanied by a message. The church is the nuclear deterrent. This is a profound spiritual statement. It suggests that the collective prayers of the faithful can create a spiritual shield, a divine protection that can avert even the most terrible of man-made disasters. This concept is not unique to one faith. The power of collective prayer and focused spiritual intention is a thread that runs through many of the world's great religions. It is the belief that when humanity turns its heart towards the divine, in unified supplication, miracles can happen. In the face of these great and troubling signs, global conflict, internal division, and existential threats, where do we place our hope? The headlines can feel overwhelming. The nightly news can leave our spirits feeling heavy and our hearts anxious. It can feel as though the gates of hell are prevailing against our world. But this is precisely where our faith must become more than a belief. It must become our anchor. It is here that we must build our house upon the rock. A foundational promise in the Christian faith, given by Jesus himself, says, "Upon this rock, I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it." This is not a promise of an easy life, free from trials. It is a promise of ultimate victory. It is a declaration that no matter how dark the world may seem, no matter how powerful the forces of chaos and destruction appear, they will not have the final say. The gates of hell represent the systems, the strategies, and the powers that seek to steal, kill, and destroy. The turmoil we see today is the rattling of those gates. But they will not prevail. Learn how to transform anxiety into a serene trust in the Creator's ultimate plan. This prophetic update from Pure Mind Think looks beyond the alarming headlines to explore the deeper, spiritual narrative unfolding in our world.